right, so part 2. I forgot to finish up the rest of the Enneagram Type 5 from the Enneagram Institute page. So there's more. Sorry. So the other video was long anyway, and this one I'm going to go into and talk more about it and help Enneagram Type 5s to better understand themselves, because again, there's no videos online on YouTube by an actual Enneagram Type 5. They're all people that are talking as if they understand us, and by watching it I can tell they don't understand. And there's a couple like there's a couple of INFJ videos where they've made videos joking about Enneagram Type 5s and acting like they understand Enneagram Type 5s and making different scenarios that they think is funny and jokey and cute about Enneagram Type 5s in a workplace or in a coffee shop and different stuff. And it's really actually rude. And it's not true of us at all. It's just a cartoon version of us that is rough and not true. So ignore all that crap unless you're just looking to laugh. Then you can look at that stuff to laugh, but don't take that as true to who we are. So Enneagram Type 5s. Again. So let's see here. There's more. So it says let's see here. Let me where to start. Let me see. So it says knowledge, understanding, and insight are thus highly valued by 5s because their identity is built around having ideas. I don't think that's true. I think we like having ideas. I don't think that's our whole identity. I think that we just naturally come up with ideas because we think outside the box. So I'm going to disagree with that one. I think having ideas is just something that comes natural. It's not something we strive to go after and have to have. I think it's just something that just occurs because we think outside the box and we're highly observant and intense people that are able to focus and are alert on certain things. You know, again, observation and analytical skills are pretty much there for us easily as Enneagram Type 5s. So they like being someone who has something unusual and insightful to say. Again, not necessarily. I don't have to say something unusual or insightful. I just get told, hey, you're very perceptive about that, or gosh, you're very insightful, or gosh, you're very intuitive. Like, especially if I figure out somebody and they have not been easy to figure out by other people. And I figure them out and they're like, wow, you understand me. And they're surprised. So that's where that comes into play. Let's see here. For this reason, 5s are not interested in exploring what is already familiar and well established. Rather, their attention is drawn to the unusual, the overlooked, the secret, the occult, the bizarre, the fantastic, the unthinkable, investigating unknown territory. So, yeah, I don't like the common popular junk like the reality TV shows and all the stuff that, you know, is popular. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't care about status quo. So that essentially is true. I do like the off-beaten path. I do like off-beaten music, you know, that everybody else is like, that's a little bit unusual, or it's indie, or it's metal. And so, yeah, I could see that. And let's see what else it says about us. Knowing something that others do not know, or creating something that no one else has ever experienced, allows 5s to have a niche for themselves that no one else occupies. They believe that developing that niche is the best way that they can attain independence and confidence. That's not necessarily true. Now, we do need to have a niche so we can fit in the world and survive, but it's not with the goal of having a specific unusual niche. It's just wanting to survive in the world. So that's a little bit off. For their own security and self-esteem, 5s need at least one area in which they have a degree of expertise that will allow them to feel capable and connected with the world. Fives think, I am going to find something that I can do really well, and then I will be able to meet the challenges of life. But I can't have other things distracting me or getting in the way. Therefore, they develop an intense focus on whatever they can master and feel secure about. It may be the world of mathematics, or the world of rock and roll, or classical music, or car mechanics, or horror and science fiction, or a world entirely created in their imagination. Not all fives are scholars or PhDs, but depending on their intelligence and the resources available to them, they will focus intensely on mastering something that has captured their interest. I agree. I think that we do like to master something, whether it be a vocation or a hobby or both. And so, like, I can't do anything half-assed. It's all in. And if I feel like I don't have enough resources to finish it, then I pretty much give up on it. It's like, for example, it mentioned music. Music is something that I have had experience with my entire life. Both sides of my family are musicians. But I don't feel competent. I took graduate level classes, voice, piano, and guitar. I still feel incompetent. I have performed, and I have some serious clubs that follow me. I have some fellow friends that are musicians that are really talented, some well known, some are not well known. The ones that aren't well known are actually more talented than ones that are known, to be honest. That's the case with a lot of musicians. A lot of them aren't out to become celebrity or famous. They're actually quite talented and nobody knows. I do, though. I appreciate them. My dog is shaking, sorry. Come here. Come here. He wants to cover up and lay down. He wants to go to sleep. So, he moved the whole bed. So anyway, but yeah, I feel like I need more private lessons to master, not voice. I feel like I have voice down, but I feel like I need more lessons to master guitar and keyboard and piano. So I don't feel competent to go and perform. And I don't want to be in a band with people who are already competent on instruments and be their singer. So I don't know. So that's an area I'm stumped in and can't function in the world with. But the other degree that I have from my master's program, I do feel competent. I do have experience and I do have a skill set that came naturally. A's came naturally for me in that subject. And I'm very intuitive and observant. And so my natural inclinations for being an analytical, observant person and highly intuitive, it fits well in that vocation. So it's working out so far, but am I happy with it? Not really. It talks about that depending on your resources, if I was to win the lottery, I would of course get myself a decent car and a house and pay it off. But then I would go back to grad school and get at least 1 or 2 more degrees. That's just being honest. And it would be totally different fields than what I'm in now. So, but certain fields I already have a lot of knowledge in that's sort of related, if that makes sense. But probably not, because you don't know what I do. So, unless you're friends with me or on my LinkedIn, then you'll know. Or if you're on my Facebook, then you know. But chances are you're not. For better or worse, the areas that 5s explore do not depend on social validation. True. If others agree with their ideas too readily, 5s tend to fear that their ideas might be too conventional. History is full of famous 5s who overturned accepted ways of understanding or doing things, such as Darwin, Einstein, Nietzsche. Many more 5s, however, have become lost in the Byzantine complexities of their own thought processes, becoming merely eccentric and socially isolated. So, I could see that happening with me in music, if that was my only thing, and this was like the 1800s or something, and I had no other choice for a vocation. But thankfully, we're in 2020 and there's always options out there, so that's good. Um, let's see. The intense focus of 5's can thus lead to remarkable discoveries and innovations, but when the personality is more fixated, it can also create self-defeating problems, like mine about music. This is because their focus or of attention unwittingly serves to distract them from the resource or the sources of their anxiety may be. Relationships, lack of physical strength, inability to gain employment, and so forth. Average 5's tend not to deal with these issues. Rather, they find something else to do that will make them feel more competent. The irony is that no matter what degree of mastery they develop in their area of expertise, they cannot solve their more basic insecurities about functioning in the world. So, yeah, true. True. We're eccentric, we're isolated. So, of course, we're going to have issues when it comes to people and having relationships and not feel as secure. And so, and a lot of this talks more about, sorry, my back is itching like crazy, allergies, and then it's been raining, and so there's like lots of mosquitoes and bugs all around. So it's just talking more about that we collect to try to feel like we have more competency in a skill instead of focusing on fixing a relationship. Not true. I did try to fix a relationship that was recent with an INFJ. But he was an Enneagram Type 8. So the pitfalls with that, we both have fears of rejection. So his fear was, and he consistently said it throughout the time that we dated or hung out, that he was worried I was going to reject him and dump him. He said that so many times. So guess what he did? Instead of waiting around for a self-fulfilling prophecy because he kept pushing me away, he just dumped me. He quit talking to me and ghosted me, and then reemerged a couple times. One of the times really brash and rude. The other time loving and, telling me I'm lovely and all this crap. And so finally I just got tired of it and I blocked him on everything. So because I felt like he was playing too many games. And I don't like games. I think it's a waste of time. So bringing us to the next point, Enneagram Type 5's are stingy with our time. Yes, we can be stingy. So it says stingy, but it doesn't go into detail what we're stingy with. It has nothing to do with stingy about money or possessions. Because first of all, we're not superficial. We don't care about money and objects. If we happen to have some money because we're skilled and smart in a particular vocation that makes good money, then great. But it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with our time, who we spend it with, and what we reveal, because we tend to be very private and reserved people. So with work, for example, I'm very particular on what I decide to be open about and share with them about with my life, my personal experiences, and what's going on with me. So I'll just share basic stuff, and I don't open up a whole lot to them. And I just don't feel like it's professional, so I don't. And also I don't want them to, because some of them are toxic, and so I don't want them to have my information. And in a relationship, if the relationship is bad and stressful, yes, I could see myself spending more time working to distract myself to get away from that relationship, or doing something to keep myself busy, like a hobby or whatever. Anything to keep myself busy to spend less time with the person that's stressing me out, the better. So I have done that in the past. And in the past, I didn't know to text more and call more or whatever. I had one guy complain about it. He was like, "You're not like other girls. You never text unless I initiate it, and you never call." And he's like, "I'm used to girls calling and texting me all the time, and you're not clingy and you don't do that." And so I try to change that with the relationship I have with the INFJ. I made more efforts to be more cognizant with making sure to feel that, okay, hopefully he feels secure that I like him and I'm not going anywhere, and that I definitely care about him. I'm going to text him all the time to let him know. I'm going to not call him so that I won't come accidentally get him at a bad time when he's trying to work or do something. So I'll let him have the control of calling me, and I will send him emails because I'm better at thinking and processing and putting my thoughts down in an email format than a little tiny text, because text can get big and convoluted. And he liked talking because he liked hearing my voice, and he liked to work things out verbally. So that was his method. And to see me in person, which, anyway, moving on. So Enneagram Type 5's, that's where we're at with that area. Now, with us being eccentric, isolated, we get lonely, and we are vulnerable people. So I want to make sure to alert all my fellow Enneagram Type 5's as well as Enneagram 9's, because I feel like Enneagram 9's would also be in this area of danger. Please be very careful. Don't go for a bad relationship. Don't go for an abusive person. You can't fix them. You can't change them. If somebody is emotionally unavailable, don't bother. I'm going to give you some red flags to watch for, and listen to your gut. Listen to your observations that you see. Here's some observable red flags that you want to notice and stay away from. Don't get close to this person. You can keep them from a distance, but don't get close to them. So if they're manipulative and they're okay with that, bad, red flag. If they rationalize their manipulation, oh, I'm doing it for this cause, I'm doing it for this reason, red flag. If they refuse to work and they're entitled, red flag. So say that they are like, well, I can't work right now because the jobs I want aren't available. Okay, but I've worked blue collar jobs, and I guarantee I'm more educated and more skilled than you are, and I didn't have a mindset that I am too good to work at a blue collar job. I did whatever it took to pay the bills. And so if they don't have that mindset and they feel too good to get a blue collar job, that's entitlement. That's a bad person. You don't want that person, because they're going to feel like you owe them something. And, nobody owes anybody anything. It shouldn't be give and take. It should be give. And give and take reciprocally, not just give from us and they take from us. So be very careful of that. Other red flags, if they're spending a lot of time and you don't know what they're doing, it could be that they're on drugs, it could be they're on alcohol, it could be they're cheating. So be very careful and cognizant of the fact that if they're spending a lot of time away and they don't tell you what's going on, be very careful of that person. That's a red flag. And let me think what else is a red flag. Liars, manipulators, people who justify why they manipulate and why they lie, of course. And my favorite, the person that turns things around on you and makes it your fault or tells you you're crazy. So as soon as you have someone call you crazy or call you stupid or put you down and belittle you, red flag, run. And especially if they turn it around on you, make it your fault and cast all the blame on you, and they don't apologize and they make it all you, because nothing is 100% one person. There's always going to be two sides of a coin, So you really have to consider that. So be very careful and on the alert, and listen and watch for all your observations and pay attention to that. Don't discount your observations. They're for real. And don't engage in an abusive relationship, no matter how lonely you are and no matter how charming or attractive or seemingly good a person is. If they have observable traits that are obvious, like the ones I just pointed out, they lie, they manipulate, they justify, they blame, they belittle, they won't work, they're entitled, they're using drugs and alcohol excessively. I mean, even any drug. If they're using drugs and they're not working, you don't want to be bothered with that person at all. So be very careful, Enneagram 5's and Enneagram 9's, because we're very accommodating people, very vulnerable. So just be on your guard. And that's it for part 2 on Enneagram Type 5's. And hopefully I helped my fellow Enneagram Type 5's. So thanks for watching. Peace out.